Knowledge in this session, we have an eminent speaker, CA Mohan R Lavi. May I request CA Ganapati to escort the speaker onto the dais and also welcome him to the floral bouquet. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the speaker. Friends, it is my pleasure to introduce the speaker to this audit gathering. CA Mohan R Lavi is a fellow chartered accountant with a work experience of more than 28 years. He has worked in senior positions in finance and manufacturing and software companies. At present, he is a partner with Messrs. KP Rao and Co. Chartered Accountants, Bangalore, and heads the Ind AS and GST practice of the firm. Mohan is the author of the first book on service tax that was published in 1994. He has authored books on IFRS, Ind AS, and the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. He is a regular contributor of articles to the Hindu Business Line and Deccan Herald on accounting standards, taxation, and GST. Mohan has spoken at various conferences in India and abroad on accounting standards, IFRS, Sarbanes-Oxley, and GST, and is a faculty member of the ICAI and other professional bodies. With this brief introduction, I present CA Mohan R Lavi before you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome him.
Let me first thank the Bangalore branch for inviting me here to speak on topics which all of us consider generally very boring. At least Sundareshan had the pleasure of talking on case studies. I am supposed to talk on audit documentation and auditing for the guidance note on special purpose reports, both of which we do to a certain extent, but to what extent we do is what we'll have to probably see. But a quick background just to capture what Mr. Sundareshan was trying to say in terms of the audit report and qualification and all these things, right? So one of the things which is coming up now very frequently, a discussion which is generally coming up is that we seem to be in the most dangerous profession in the world, right? Would all of you agree with that or not?
Yes, it is.
Right, so if we agree with the fact that we are in the most dangerous profession in the world, we need some mechanism to protect ourselves, right? I mean, we obviously can't change our profession, can we? For some of us, it may be too late to change our profession. So, and somehow I feel that many of us like the excitement in this profession. Though the fact is that it is a very risky profession, we like the risk, or rather the excitement that comes with the risk associated with this profession. We know, for example, that based on what all of you have been speaking from the morning, that there are certain guidance notes, there's a lot of literature for us to read. There is a lot of literature. I mean, let's be very honest about this. In terms of auditing quality, there is absolutely no lack of literature in India. Probably we have got better literature than what it is available abroad. The problem abroad seems to be we've got too much of literature. But here we seem to be having the right amount of literature on any of the aspects. To take any of the aspects, we seem to be having. So I think it's more a question of how we apply what those things are in real practice. So I'm going to start off by asking a very simple question. Now that we have agreed that we are in the most dangerous profession in the world, sorry, I think it's not coming here. Okay, rank this in order of priority. What would you do? To protect ourselves as a protection mechanism, would you go for an insurance policy? Would you get a detailed MRL? Would you go for audit documentation, or would you seek anticipatory pay?
Audit documentation.
Audit documentation is the best solution for us. I don't think the last question the last bullet point we should even consider, because I don't think we need to go so far. So the fact remains that if there is anything that can protect us, as Sundareshan was just concluding before his session was concluding, was if there is anything that can protect us, it is going to be your documentation. And I can tell you, when I was in industry, of course, I was in industry for some time. I was in Hyderabad in an accounting firm who were auditors, and we were just signing out the financial statements. This is about 8 o'clock in the evening, and the part accounting firm, he had a visitor who had not come to his office for almost about 6 or 7 years, a client of his. And so he called him inside, he said, just give me 5 minutes, I want to speak to this person because I don't know what he's asking for, he's come after 6 or 7 years. And this man walked in and said, I've not been in Hyderabad for quite some time, I've been abroad. Now I've come back to Hyderabad, we're having some small issue with our firm. I want a partnership deed worth, which was dated about 7 years back. So this happened in 2004, 2005. He's asking for a partnership deed worth, which was, executed somewhere in 1998. And part of this firm said, okay, you want the partnership deed, not a problem. I don't know if you have got copies or not, but let me check. And the partnership deed was produced exactly in 5 minutes. I'm not saying this as a matter of, to emphasize the matter. The partnership deed, which was 7 years back, was produced exactly in 5 minutes. And I was tempted to ask him this question, how is it that you got this document in 5 minutes? Did you know this person was coming? Or did you, did he give you information that he's coming? Did you know that you want? He said, no, nothing, I just met him in front of you, you know that, right? He said, our documentation procedure is so good that we can pick up these documents just like that. I am not saying this that we should probably expect that level of, what you can say. Obviously they were doing something on a software, that's why they were probably able to find out exactly where the file was. But that sort of puts to you the importance of, the documentation. And whether we like it or not, documentation hits us only when we don't have it. Right? When the documentation hits us only when we don't have it. We have finished the audit is over, it's been a very grueling audit, 3 months audit, questions have been asked, EOM has been put, some, qualifications have been avoided, there has been a little bit of back and forth between management and you. It's been a very grueling 3 months audit, you got the audit documentation in place, all you really want to do is send your invoice. That's really what you want to do. And as you are doing that and reviewing the documentation, you see one major file or one major invoice or one major document is missing in that. And all of us know, before signing the audit report, the way clients react and the way they react after signing the audit report is completely different. So the way you would, the chances of you getting that particular document, once you have signed off, is going to be pretty remote. So though the auditing standard gives you 2 months to complete your documentation, preferably what we should probably try to do is, as when the audit is being done itself, if we can build up our documentation. So the criticality of documentation can never be ruled out. We all have our own ways of documenting things. We all have our own method and mechanism. There is no standard formula, template or a file structure which anybody can give. I would probably, even before getting into the SA 230, I would probably even say that as long as the documentation gives you the information you want, the way you want it and when you want it, you should be comfortable. We will keep the peer reviewer and all those people aside for a minute because they'll have that, they come with their own views and it's only a judgmental situation here. So as long as we are comfortable, and the other thing which many of you have probably experienced is that I think the word which is probably most important in documentation is the word called as comprehensive. Our documentation should be probably comprehensive. Many a time we feel that a document is probably unimportant. When I say we, I don't mean at the partner level, I'm talking about the level lower down. There's a certain level of judgment they also exercise. A document is given to them, they feel it's unimportant. They say, okay, fine, doesn't matter, it's a very immaterial item. You never know what's going to be material or not in the overall context of that particular transaction as such. So, I mean, when you are on the, when you are in doubt, probably it's always better to, pick up the documentation and keep it, right? Okay, I'm going to go through a little bit of theoretical aspects now. All this is something which all of you know about. So, we know this the theory aspect very, very clearly here. So, it just basically gives you a sort of what you can say, evidence on what basis you have reached one particular conclusion. This is what the purpose of the documentation seems to be. And more importantly, it also gives us an evidence that the audit was planned and performed to the standards of auditing and also applicable legal and regulatory requirements. So I think basically, as long as your documentation flow is captured in saying that, okay, this is what has been required as per the Companies Act. We have noticed cases wherein when companies have moved over to Ind AS, the documentation has still gone back to the AS world. Ind AS requires a completely separate set of documentation. You cannot really go back on your AS checklist for the purpose of doing your Ind AS. We have observed cases wherein they use the same AS format with a few changes here and there for Ind AS putting in here. And I would have probably thought that it should have probably been done completely differently, because Ind AS, as all of you would probably be knowing by now, they are very aggressive accounting standards. Those accounting standards are very, very aggressive. And a lot more judgment is involved in Ind AS than we have in the AS world. When we talk about fair value, we don't even know what there's a definition for fair value. But is that fair value really fair? We don't even know. So the judgment would involve probably more documentation. And I think it is here that the role of the auditor comes in, and he probably has to exercise the necessary documentation, pick up the necessary documentation to probably ascertain if that fair value is right or not. I always give a case of fair valuation, which I should probably tell all of you. This happened to a French bank, which had an exposure to the Greek market. I'm talking about 3 or 4 years back. And they had an exposure to a Greek bond. And the fair value on the books, the carrying amount on the books, was around 12 crores. I'm putting these numbers in Indian rupees. Was around 12 crores. Now this bank knew that the Greek market is bad, so they wanted to make a fair valuation, done. So they brought down the fair value to around 8 crores of rupees. They said there's an impairment because of the Greek market. The Greek market has gone down. They brought it down to 8 crores of rupees. The moment the bank said that as an impairment, the auditor came in and he said, no, it's not going to be 8 crores of rupees. It's much lower than that. I don't agree with this 8 crores of rupees. So the bank went and told the auditor, okay, fine, let's do this thing. You don't agree with 8 crores of rupees? You come out and tell me what is your value. So at least we can have a discussion on that, basis. So this particular auditor went to a third valuer, went to a second valuer rather, and he got one more valuation report. Now just think for a moment. If you are the second valuer and somebody approaches you and tells you that I've got a valuation of 8 crores of rupees, what will you do?
It depends. It can go up, it can go down, but it should be an independent call.
It should, if I had not told you 8 crores, you would have probably been independent. I have told you 8 crores, right? So you will say that, no, it's definitely not 8 crores of rupees. So the second valuer brought down the value to 6 crores of rupees. Only because this person said 8 crores. He said 6 crores of rupees. And this particular bank, BNP Paribas, they fought the auditor and said that I don't agree with this at all. It was 12 crores, I brought it down by 4 crores. You are just because I brought it down to 8 crores, you are saying it is 6 crores. I don't agree with this at all. So they had the usual debate, which is very common nowadays. Auditor says, I'll qualify the audit report. The client says, remember there's something called rotation of auditors. This debate keeps going on. So whether we have to, qualify the audit report, he'll come back and say, remember the rotation of auditors. So there's, a challenge of this. And at one point of time, they said, okay, let's not fight any longer. Enough of fighting. We'll agree on one thing. We'll go to a third valuer now. On one condition. Whatever value he gives, we accept without fighting. So both the BNP Paribas and the auditor agreed on this. They went to the third valuer. This, my friends, is the best job in the valuation market. Get 2 valuation reports and give your value. What is the third valuer? We gave a 20-page report. First 9 pages what the first valuer said. Second 9 pages, second valuer. Last 2 pages are his basis for conclusions. What is the value he got?
7 crores.
He got 7 crores, you're right. This is a long back itself. Now the interesting thing was, when this entire process was going on, and the bank sort of mentioned this in their financial statements, they only mentioned the fact that they got a valuation report from an independent valuer. They did not, because I know somebody in BNP Paribas, told me, they did not mention about this entire fighting going on between these 2 valuers and all those things. This was never mentioned in the notes and accounts on fair value disclosure and all those things. So, if you look at it from the point of view of audit documentation, what's the auditor maintained here? Definitely all the valuation reports. Definitely all the valuation reports. not only the third valuation report. So many a time we would probably feel that why should I worry about the first valuation report because the third valuation report is already there with me. But to even draw a judgment, the original booking entry in the books of account was 8 crores of rupees. From there to arrive at 7 crores, what happened? You would probably have to document this as a sequential transaction and then probably sort of write what is your basis for judgment and all those things in this thing. Of course, additional purposes for the audit, engagement team, all this is already there in the accounting channels. I'm not going to get this thing here too much into this thing. I have always felt, though I am not into audit as in too much, I always sort of had this feeling that the checklist method of auditing probably does not work any longer. In the sense that we should have a more comprehensive document than a checklist, because in case of a checklist, what is going to happen is that the person who is going for the audit only looks at the checklist. And if the checklist is not comprehensive, the point is missed completely. I can give you an example. For example, your CARO, even your CARO checklist has nothing on impairment. There's nothing on impairment. The first question which is asked in CARO is fixed assets. Does the company have what? Fixed assets. Is there physical verification of fixed assets? First two questions. What does the article clerk do? Goes and asks them, do you have fixed assets? They say, you're sitting on one fixed asset. Have you physically verified it? Yes, I've got physical verification report. The entire audit of fixed assets is over based on these two questions. If you go by a checklist approach. The fact that that asset in which they are sitting can probably be impaired never even comes across in this conversation. Right? So, I'm not saying that the CARO is wrong as a document, but we as a checklist, because we are also bound by the auditing standards or accounting standards, maybe we should probably include this point about impairment also in the checklist here. And I always remember this classical case of checklist. Punjab National Bank in Chennai branch, now that Punjab National Bank is in the news, you can probably, I'm talking about 7 or 8 years back, and Punjab National Bank had this, their own inspectors going for audit, inspection audit. Their own inspectors going for internal audit, not chartered accounting firms, their own inspectors. And the questionnaire was built in such a manner that they only have to answer yes or no. There is no space for them to write any comments also. The questionnaire is supposed to be comprehensive enough, the checklist is supposed to be comprehensive enough, they only have to answer yes or no. So in the currency chest branch in Chennai, the questionnaire was like this: does the currency chest branch have got a security guard? What does the inspector do? He goes and looks outside, okay, security guard is there, no problem, take yes. Does the security guard change duty every 8 hours? Second question. What does he do?
Wait for 8 hours to check.
Thankfully not, he sees the register. Okay, at least a new person is coming. Okay, no problem, changes duty 8 hours. This actually happened. Third question. Does the security guard carry a gun? He goes and looks at him. Do you have a gun? Yes, I've got a gun. Tick mark. Fourth question. Does the gun have bullets? So he goes and says, can you open your gun? I want to see that the bullets are not. There were no bullets there. So he ticked no. The report went to head office, Punjab National Bank. It was discovered after 4 years, believe me or not. After 4 years, somebody sitting in Punjab National Bank in Delhi got this checklist and said that currency chest branch in Chennai does not have bullets in their gun. They called up the currency chest branch and said, why is it that the security guard does not have bullets in their gun? You please provide the bullets immediately. The branch itself was closed by that time. There is no currency chest branch there at all. It was a normal international banking branch there. So what would happen in a checklist based audit is, if it is comprehensive enough, yes, probably, yeah, we can probably take shelter in it, but as all of us know, how comprehensive can a checklist be? I think that itself seems to be a sort of a question we have to answer before we sort of, probably send the people into the field for it, right? And Sundaresh has spoken a lot about, the audit report, so I'm not going to get into that. All of us know about, this thing here. And the standard of auditing suddenly introduced a new term called as experienced auditor. So, please don't think that experienced auditor means you should have only grey hair. That does not seem to be this thing here. And he is talking about a person who has practical audit experience, which is a very, very vast term, right? And a reasonable understanding of audit processes, standard of auditing, and applicable legal and regulatory requirements, business environment, auditing and financial, regulations and reporting issues. So, as long as there is a person who is aware of the fact that there is something called a standard of auditing, he should have knowledge of it obviously. General auditing processes, he is called as an experienced auditor. So I tell you why this experienced auditing is important in the context of this essay. I tell you why it is important. Now let us assume for a moment that all of us are experienced auditors. It is obvious, we all know this, right? We all know this very, very, this is something which all of us know very clearly. There are certain people, there are certain mistakes which we can catch just like the authorities. It doesn't really require too much of a, what you can say, auditing procedure if you make for us to actually find some mistakes. We can easily make them out. Those mistakes are easily rectified. That is experience coming to play. That's obviously experience coming to play. But the standard of auditing seems to want this experienced auditor for some other purpose. What he says is that the auditor shall prepare audit documentation that is sufficient to enable an experienced auditor who has got no previous connection with the audit to reach all these conclusions. So this is where the question of experienced auditor comes into play. To understand that my auditing has been done properly. So, the experienced auditor is not coming to play for the purpose of conducting the audit. SA 230 is talking about experienced auditor for the purpose of reviewing some other person's documentation. He is not supposed to have any experience in the audit, or for that matter, he should not have done the audit himself, if you may. But on the basis of your document or your audit file, he should be able to reach a conclusion that this audit was performed in accordance with all the required standards of auditing and all. See, we use the word called as peer reviewer in India, but the standard of auditing uses the word called as experienced auditor. So this again goes to show that you will have to ensure that your documentation is comprehensive enough to make that third person who is an experienced auditor understand this. So this becomes important more so in the present day and context. Now that we are having so many inspections, so many people coming to us and asking us for audit files, review audit files, regulatory bodies are looking at us very, very frequently. This present atmosphere, what we are seeing in India, was pulled off from what is called as the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board in the US, which was formed just after the Enron scandal happened. They formed something called as Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. And one of the tasks of the PCAOB, as it was called, was to go and seek information from the auditors and check their documentation. And if you go to PCAOBUS.org, many of their inspection reports are in public domain. They've inspected many Indian firms also, not only the big four firms, they've also inspected other Indian firms who have had some sort of clients who are listed on the NASDAQ also. They don't mention the name of the client as such, but okay, yes sir, take it. They are not necessarily only for NASDAQ listed clients here, and they have given a lot of what you can say reports as to where your documentation is weak. It's also a good sort of practical, what you can say, experience for a lot of us to probably go and see. Read any of those reports, especially of the couple of firms which they have given a negative comment on, and probably see where we should probably improve our documentation. Those are pretty much in the public domain. Luckily, you don't have to pay for it. But there was a very humorous incident in one particular company which the PCAOB audited, and this was talking about 7 or 8 years back. A listed company on the NASDAQ, US-based company listed on the NASDAQ, nowhere else listed, and this was just after 2005-2006. Just after that Sarbanes-Oxley was passed and this PCAOB was passed, now they went to the auditor's office and checked all his documentation, checked all his audit files, and came out with a comment saying that you have asked for a confirmation of balance from this particular client or the customer of that particular client, but the covering letter for you to have sent that confirmation of balance is not on record. They big issue of it. They said that you got a confirmation of balance, but the covering letter for sending you that what is the confirmation of balance is not on record. Therefore, it is a negative comment. You don't have appropriate audit evidence. This is what they concluded upon. Then normally the way they think is they give you draft comments. They give you time to rectify those comments and respond to those comments. In this auditing firm, there was one Indian chartered accountant working. So he saw this comment. He said, what is the problem? All the bosses in US are worrying about this negative comment from PCAOB. Firm reputation is going to go off. There's going to be a problem. We don't know what to do. We'll have a severe problem and all. There was one Indian chartered accountant who had also done a CPA who was working in that firm. He asked, what is the problem? He said, no, see, we've got this problem here. They've given this comment saying that actually confirmation of balance is there on the record. But no, the letter for asking for confirmation balance is not there. He said, what is the problem? We'll solve the problem immediately. No problem, he said. What will you do? We'll back it on letter, he said. So he put on letter backdated, whenever the time was for the confirmation balance, and went and told the client, see boss, I'm getting a PCAOB comment here, please acknowledge on that particular date. The client said, okay, no problem. Client also acknowledged it, and he came and put it on record here. After 1 week, the PCAOB became, sir, we've already got the document. Now the PCAOB asked them, where was this document which was not there in the previous file? Where did the document suddenly appear from? And this person said, sir, listed company, a lot of documentation that was somewhere there, we found it missing, we suddenly found it and put it back here. The note was dropped. But if you look at their notes, you look at their reports, you look at their, comments they give, they only talk about lack of appropriate evidence being captured. In any situation, they have never questioned as such the auditing process which has been followed. They never questioned that. They have probably questioned the sample size which has been used, saying it's a lesser sample has been used. I've got a couple of those comments which will probably go through later on. But they have never questioned the fact that an auditing process itself has been followed, wrongly. They have never questioned that as a fact. So this again goes back to the fact that irrespective of whatever auditing process I am following, as long as my documentation backs it up, I should probably be safe from even the regulatory requirements here. Okay, how much of documentation maintained? This is self-explanatory. The size and complexity of the entity, the nature of all this is going to be a thing here. Now, this is one area wherein I think that it all depends upon how this entire thing works. When I was the CFO of a company and we had auditors, I remember telling our partner of the auditing firm, he said, we're going to commence the audit from, the 20th of April if I'm not wrong. I said, yeah, fine, fair enough, no problem. So the people used to come and, 2 articles used to come to the office, then it became 3 people, then it became 4 people. So it commenced on 20th of April, and I was technically thinking that, okay, maybe the audit will take 2 months. So, on the 19th of June, the partner came in for a meeting and he said, I said, so how's the audit process? I thought 2 months is such a long time for this audit. Software company, what is that audit any which ways? It's only employee cost, that's all, nothing else is there. So the partner came for a meeting at the end of 2 months and he said, I said, how's audit going on? He said, no, we're commencing audit tomorrow. I said, okay, then what did you do for 2 months? We're building up documentation, he says. I said, 2 months you built up documentation? He said, yeah. Then I said, can I have a look at the documentation file what you have built up? At least I can know that there's some comfort that all the documents have been given to you properly. He said, no, that's in the office, I'll bring it to tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to start the audit as such. I said, okay, fine, no problem. So it so happened that this was a startup company, we were just starting up in Bangalore. So our main cost was only on capital work in progress, which was, fixed assets, which was for the unit we built here. And the second was employee cost. So when they came for the audit next day, despite building 2 fat files of documentation, right, they commenced the audit through a software, right? And what does the software pick up? Apart from capital work in progress and employee cost, it picked up everything else. It picked up lease agreements as an area of audit. Lease agreement was already in place and structured, and that, but it picked up. So I told them, I think there's something wrong with your audit process. Our main cost is your fixed assets. Why are you worried about, a lease agreement? He said, no, we have to go ask for the software. So Then I asked him, 2 months you built up documentation. How are you going to link the documentation to the audit process? He said, that will take 1 more 2 months, he said. To see our software with our document, because the documentation is humongous, it's got everything. And I observed that, I asked my people how many documents they have asked for. They had asked for practically every single voucher in that company. Practically every single voucher. They didn't do any auditing, but they just sort of bit of love. It was 2 humongous files full of these things here. The question which, I was sitting on the other side of the table, the question which probably came up to me was, suppose somebody asked them for one particular document. I'm sure they have it. I'm sure they have it. So there was a confidence in me saying, okay, at least these people have got it. We may not have it, but at least they have it. That was the confidence for me. Right? It so happened that the audit was done after about 4 months. It took 4 months, as I told, it took about 4.5 months. Audit was done, completed, signed off, everybody was happy. And post-audit, the bill was paid off on time, just for your information. And 1 month after the audit, the article clerk comes again to my office and says, sir, one document is missing, sir. I said, what document is missing? He said, one insurance policy we have somehow missed on our file. We are somehow not able to link it. So can you give us one more copy of the insurance document? And so I told my person, why don't we give it? He said, I went to thrice already. But he said, I don't know, it's just missing. I don't know where it is gone. Can you please give me one more copy? So we gave them one more copy. And as I said, so what happened there was that the sheer extent of the documentation was so humongous that if they had to link their audit procedures with one particular document, they would have had a real problem. I'm sure that was not my problem in any way, but that was their problem. So when he came up for the final discussion, I told him that is so much of documentation really necessary? When you are having a software for your audit program, can't you have software documentation also? Can't you maintain soft copies? Like, we can give you soft copies, you can also maintain soft. He said, no, we only believe in hard copies. Audit program, they believe in software, but for audit documentation, you only want hard copies. So, that was what the extent they were prepared to go. So, again, here there is no formula for this. We need to be a little bit more careful in correcting as much as documentation as possible. Now, when you have an audit team, you send 4 article clerks, split them into 2. 2 article clerks will be auditing, 2 article clerks will be documentation. We don't have a choice now, it appears that we have to do that. The fact that as and when they correct the documentation, the audit is gone away. And we also know for certain situations, in certain situations, clients will keep some documents always up their sleeve. They will not give it. They will say it is there with the accountant, he has gone to income tax office, his father-in-law is not well, he'll come back and give. These are all dangerous documents, incidentally. These are all words for you to capture. Father-in-law is not well, he'll come back tomorrow morning, file is lost, email was deleted. All this we have heard in practice. We need to be a little bit careful here because maybe that's important, maybe it's unimportant, we do not know. We still have to capture it, but we still have to capture it in a documentation. We do not even know how it is going to work in actual practice. Then we'll probably break for tea after this. What is audit documentation? Does it only include checklist? It does not. It includes audit programs, analysis, issues, memoranda, what are the issues are, summaries. All this seems to be comprising your audit documentation. SA 230 is also very, very clear that emails also become a part of your audit documentation. Maybe the culture is not so prevalent in India. But if you go abroad to any firm, every single day of the audit, they'll give an audit pending list, which the client acknowledges, incidentally. He's got to acknowledge it. He's got to send it back to him and say, I have received this list. So we normally send a list every day, but the list does not change in India at all. It remains the same till the audit is over also. But there, as a matter of procedure, they send an audit pending list at the end of every day. The client is supposed to respond back, saying that I have received the receipt. He may not act on it again, but the moment he acknowledges he's going to receive, that means obviously he is going to also take some necessary action on it. So even email correspondence becomes a part of your audit documentation. Maybe you should probably take printouts and keep it ready here because as all of us know, this is again something which hits us in the month of September, right? And we're already in the month of September here. As I said, being a consultant, I can take a lot of liberty in saying these things. The Income Tax Act says tax audit shall be done on or before 30th of September. That's what the Income Tax Act. It's been saying this from a long time here. All of us have forgotten this word called as or before. For us it means on 30th September, 5 p.m. I have seen people, I have seen my own friends calling up and saying, 5 p.m. will call up and say, my server is crashed, has your server also crashed? It is not here, it is the income tax server. They obviously want this excitement. In an audit situation, what is going to happen is, information is held up to the last minute. There is an inherent risk that documentation can probably be missed. And they will always put pressure saying that our board meeting is on this particular date, we have to finalize the audit, we shall give you all the possible information, don't worry about it, but please sign off on the audit report. Everything is in order, there is no problem at all, but please sign off on the audit report. So the risk becomes, in a tax audit report I can always take pleasure in the fact that okay, I can always report something negative there. And it's ultimately a question of the tax being paid by the client. But here, in the case of an audit, if I miss an important audit document, the chances I'll probably not get it are probably even higher because it may have just not even crossed my mind at the end of, once the audit is over. So it becomes all the more important for us to build up this documentation on the fly, on the go as the audit is being done, right? And we'll probably stop after this. Audit documentations that we prepared on a timely basis in the present speed at which we are working, quarterly reporting, we've got quarterly reviews, we've got audits, we've got internal audits, we've got GST audits, I mean not GST audit but GST, and so much of things. Preparing audit documentation on a timely basis again assumes significance because, as I said earlier also, I'll repeat, once we move out of the client's place, once he pays our fees, the chances of us getting whatever, even a cup of coffee from his premises are probably going to be a little bit. He may probably offer you a cup of coffee, but the documentation is, sir, why, sir, sign I tell us, why do you want to worry about it, sir? I'll give it to you, sir. You know me, we know you, so why do you want to worry about it? But it also is a precursor to the fact that as and when we are doing the audit, we should keep, when you never postpone the documentation, that's the lesson we're going to get from here. Never postpone a documentation because if it is not prepared on a timely basis, as I said, SA 230 says 2 months. SA 230 says 2 months after the audit is over. After sign off, you can have it build up audit documentation. But in 2 months, I am ready with the next quarterly review. Why will you build up documentation the previous year's audit, previous quarterly review? So I don't think this 6 months really, 2 months really holds good. We should probably try to do it as much as possible before the audit is signed off, so that at least they have the comfort that we are signing off with at least 90-95% documentation in place. Right? Shetty sir wants to have a cup of tea, we'll probably have a cup of tea and come back 15 minutes. Okay, we move on from a timely basis to, again, all this is the theory part of it. I'm coming to a more interesting aspect which is probably going to change from next year itself. What we have to do is identifying who performed audit work and determines when work was completed, who reviewed the audit work. All of you know, standard operating procedures for audit manual, all these things come into as a part of this. We know that who is the person who's done the audit, who is the person who's reviewed the audit. An interesting question which probably arises is that irrespective of who has done the audit and who has reviewed the audit, who is responsible for the audit? I can show a number of people, 3 people have done the audit, 4 people have reviewed the audit, but only one person can be responsible for the audit. Right? It can't be that I can put the blame down on everybody. So, as Anil rightly says, it is the person who is signing the audit report. Normally what happens is that if you look at how the standard firms have been structured, just before the signing person signs off, one level of review happens at probably another partner level. Normally, if you have the luxury of having a partner who can do that, probably another partner level. And nowadays we are seeing a rather interesting procedure. Within the firm itself, the file is given to a completely third person who was not involved with the audit. He himself runs a sort of a quick peer review to sort of see if something is missing, and he can come up with questions as to why the document is not there, who did the work, why didn't get this documentation. This normally is performed twice during the audit. Once during the audit as the audit is being performed in the middle of the audit, so that we know that we have to capture so much of evidence. and once just before the audit has been completed. So it would probably make sense to have a third eye looking into these papers just before the final review or sign off happens. It is also this entire question of independence of auditors, which has been a discussion which has happened globally for maybe about 10 years now. Ever since Enron happened, people have been talking a lot about this independence of auditors. How is an auditor truly independent? And one of the things which the European Union came up with as a suggestion, which was never implemented, was that more than the audit team, the signing partner should change every year. They came up with sort of a suggestion saying that more than the audit team can probably remain the same, or you can probably have a new person on audit team, but more critically, the signing partner should change every single year, which would mean that in a firm of about 5 or 7 partners, at 7th year you get back the original partner who did that audit there. So, but the European firms obviously objected to this. They said that we don't have the luxury of having 5 partners who are in audit only. We've got our partners who are specialized in taxation. They would probably not want to come and sign off on an audit report. So that sort of proposal was, pushed away. But the EU is still having that feeling, saying that true independence comes by rotation, not the audit firm, but rotating the signing partner. That sort of a discussion was there for some time, but of course now it is not there. SA 230 also talks about documenting discussions with the management, those charged with the governance, and I will only want to replace the word management here with the word called as audit committee. Irrespective of what we do with the management, I think the discussions we have with the audit committee are probably more important than with the management, though technically speaking the audit committee is a part of the management. Because if you look at the roles of the audit committee, one of their most critical roles is to ensure that the audit has been done and all points have been taken care of. So I will probably put back the responsibility on the audit committee and tell them that in my audit file, every single discussion I have had with the audit committee is going to be documented properly. Whether they have the minutes or not is a different issue. At least we as a firm would be having those minutes. And Sundaresh was talking about, ICFR, which all of us know has become a issue with every single company having to report on this. And we know in a lot of cases, we've had situations wherein the management has called us for a discussion, and the company has told, the top management have told us that we have an absolutely first-class system of internal control. Nothing can go wrong in this company. When all the employees were there, when the CFO, CEO, HR, everybody was there, they told us that this is an absolutely first-class company. We've got absolutely best-in-class processes. Nothing can go wrong in this company. Your ICFR will just be a walkthrough. Your RCM will just be done like this. The moment all the employees went away, the CEO tells us that something may be wrong. Please look into it. It's possible that such sort of situations also come in here. Unless this is documented, probably will not be able to make out exactly what has happened. And of course, Sundaresh has spoken a lot about the significant matter, what happens between movement between an qualified report and an EOM. As he was also saying, there is a certain level of comfort which has been given here. I just want to add on to this point, a little bit different from what he was saying. Though we feel that EOM is a comfort, a qualification is a comfort, you would observe a very strange thing in the foreign companies' audit reports. You would find that the qualifications are absolutely minimal. Sorry. The qualifications are probably minimal. And it was very interesting why this is so. Why are there very few qualifications? And since all of them are moved to IFRS, as you know, it was also mentioned into the IFRS says all IFRS standards have to be followed. And the first accounting standard says that in case you follow all the IFRS standards, that means that your statements are true and fair. There is a deeming which in IAS 1 itself, or Ind AS 1 which says that if you follow all the IFRS accounting standards, that your statements are true and fair. So if I am a company which is following all IFRS standards completely, there is absolutely no reason for the auditor to qualify his audit report on matters of non-compliance with accounting standards. On judgment, he can question me. On judgment, he can question me. Why have you not made such a huge provision? Why have you made a lesser provision? He can probably question me on judgment. On judgment, I can probably convince him. I can probably convince him on judgment, saying that this is what has happened, this is why I have taken a judgment. Again, the question of documentation comes in here. So you would find that the chances of an IFRS qualified audit report are probably very, very less in geographies abroad. The same thing is going to come back to India from next year, which is what I'm going to touch upon also for the purpose of documentation here. Again, if the auditor has identified information that is inconsistent with the auditor's final conclusion regarding a significant matter, address how we address inconsistency. So I've identified, I got some conclusion saying that okay, the provision for trade receivables is okay, your fair valuation is okay, I've got a certain conclusion on that. But subsequently I found out that I read the economic time next year morning, significant data, gone bankrupt or staying in London. So what do I do for that? Do I change my audit report opinion? I'll have to document that also, because I've taken a stance based on what the management said. I've got new evidence now. I'll have to probably document that also. Many a time this will obviously be a postmortem. This will not obviously be a postmortem, but still they want us to document it, right? And written as a part of the audit summary, or what we now call as audit summary here. I just want to highlight a few important things here. This is not going to be a very relevant portion because depart from a relevant requirement in the standard of auditing shall document how the audit procedures have been performed, reason for the departure. Now, I'll probably come to this thing. The standard of auditing itself uses the word called as assembly of audit file. The word assembly is normally used with car manufacturing. So he wants us to assemble a car, he wants us to assemble a audit file, which means basically significant parts of the audit, raw materials, inventories, trade receivables, get them all together and start assembling them. So the auditor shall not delete or discard audit documentation of any nature before the end of its retention period. Retention period is mentioned as 7 years. We are supposed to be having documentation for 7 years for every client. How many of us have it is a question we'll have to probably address, but still. And please remember that the 7 years is for every single year. It is not one file for all 7 years, keep on deleting from the previous year's files. That does work for each single client. We have to have probably audit documentation for all the documentation matters for 7 years. In the present, one contest which probably comes up is, can I have all this documentation electronically? The answer is definitely yes. You need not necessarily have, I know firms who actually who are paying rent for warehouses to store physical files. They actually taken premises on the outskirts of Bangalore on rent only to store physical files of clients for 7 years, maybe a bit later also, because maybe they think the documentation is probably important. So the very fact that he is using the word assembly means that, what does the assembly mean? The audit file should at least be large in nature. That's what it means. When you assemble something, you obviously assemble something which is very large. You don't assemble something small in nature, right? It should probably be quite large in here. And he's talks about 60 days of the audit report. This is already mentioned to you. And changes to the audit file already mentioned to the about the retention period here. Deleting, or you are not supposed to delete anything in the audit file. Whether you are going to delete it or not is a different issue altogether. Maybe you find some evidence unnecessary. Maybe you find multiple copies of the same document. Over-enthusiastic articles sometimes need to take a lot of copies of the same document just because we keep asking for it. So if you've got 4 copies of the same document, you want to discard 3? Probably yes. But you want to discard all the 4? Definitely no. Right? So you would have to sort of look at the audit file from that perspective. Now, just to sort of give one area where, since you are using the word called as assembly of audit file, we just look at one particular area and try to see what and all you could probably put up, or what should be the contents of the audit file. And I'm going to the area which is probably very popular with all of us. I'm going to an area called as revenue recognition. What would you look at in revenue recognition? You'll always look at invoices. You'll do test sample of invoices. Let us say that there are, for the purpose of simplicity, 1,000 invoices in the year. You're doing a 50% sample. So that means you've got 500 invoices. Are you going to keep copies of all the 500 invoices in your file? Yes or no? Yes? No? Or would you say that this 1000 invoices have been issued in the year, we have done a 50% sample check of 500 invoices, nothing untoward is observed in these invoices, 10 sample invoices are attached. Would that be better? No? All 500? All 500. The moment you say sample size, what does the sample mean? More than what you are selecting, it means that you are neglecting something else. I won't use the word neglect, you are removing something else. So, there is all the more reason for you to say that even if the invoices are repetitive in nature, the same invoice, only invoice to foreign company, monthly invoice, cost plus 15%, invoice does not change in value, amount or nature. Even so, I would suggest that always better to keep these invoices on your record here. Now, many people feel that what is going to happen? In the sense, what is going to happen if I keep say 10 invoices? And suppose somebody comes and tells me, I can always go back to the company and say, listen, give me the invoice for July. I know it's going to be the same. I don't think that is going to be acceptable. If you look at SA 2030, seriously, it's not going to be possible, because if you are picking up these invoices for sampling, definitely I have to check it. Now, you may not want to do 50% sample, that's a completely different issue altogether. It's a completely different standard for itself, for picking up what you do for sampling. If you feel that the threat of a risk in revenue is very, very less, you can probably do a 20% sampling there. Absolutely no problem as far as that is concerned. But when you do a 20% sampling, you would need to maintain documents for the 20% samples. That is where I think the question of building up the comprehensive audit file probably comes in here. Okay, what happens with this inadequate documentation? I am going to give you a couple of reports on the PCAOB. They are very general in nature. They have inspected accounting firms, and these are what they have commented after inspecting from the accounting firms here. Don't worry about the long sentences and all. And just look at what he has said. The firm failed to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to support its audit opinion on the financial statements, as it failed to perform sufficient procedures related to revenue as follows. The sample size of the firm used to test revenue was too small to provide sufficient evidence. So what they are saying is that the 20%, 50% I told you, the PCOB have come and said that considering the nature of operation of the entity, sample size chosen was too small. Okay. Now, this can probably be a situation of a judgment. I can tell him, listen, I know this client very, very well. 20% is what I feel is good. You are feeling 50% is bad. That's a discussion which will obviously happen offline. But the very fact that they have reported this in a public document would probably mean that there was probably a lack of documentation to say why they have chosen this particular sample, and more importantly, on that sample what they have tested. The same PCOB, in another report which is not captured, I'll tell you that as this thing here. There was a change of auditor. Auditor had to change because of some circumstances. The previous auditor, did not want to continue the audit. He said, I'm done with my audit. So they went over to a new auditor. And the new auditor was given a very short time frame to actually commence the audit. So even before he commenced the audit, he called up the old auditor and asked him, how is this company, how is it doing, what should I look out for? Is there anything I have to take care of it? Are there any serious threats to this company? Is it okay? Do they pay the fees properly? He asked all the normal 10 questions. And he sort of put the phone down and said, okay, the old auditor said nothing wrong with this company, they probably, pay your fees on time. No major deficiencies noticed. On that basis, he took up the audit and signed the next quarter's audit report. The PCOB came in and said that you did a phone call, all right, no problem having the phone call. You should have documented what that phone call transpired to in an audit document. You have not recorded that phone call or what transpired in that phone call into a file which said that this is what he identified as risk, this is what he said about the risks. Otherwise, you should have also given a reason as to why you took up the audit. That was not communicated in writing, so he made that also as a major, defect. Yes, I mean.
The question is, this is a general review of the files, or wherever there has been some specific issues, these files have been reviewed?
No, general. It's a general. They pick and choose files on a general review. They have come to firms in Bombay also, who have done, NASDAQ listed firms in Bombay, they have come to them also, right? People have given certifications for natural distinguished, they come to them also. It's a general, it's like your, I shouldn't be saying this, but you look at a pharmaceutical company, there is something called as the FDA in the US, Food and Drug Administration, which does inspection of pharma units and always finds deficiencies in the pharma units. This is becoming, it's come to the audit sphere also now. We're getting FDA and the audit sphere also. They're trying to find out, deficiencies in our documentation. How much are so, we maintain the documentation will probably be this thing here. Now, I think we should probably also look at this here because earlier I told you that there are very few qualifications in the audit report abroad, and matters of judgment are normally agreements between the auditor and the client. So we would not really have to worry too much about fair valuation and all those things, because I gave the example of that, the BNP Paribas also. But the audit report format as such abroad was changed a couple of years back, and the same format is going to come back to India next year. It's going to come to India next year. So even though you will probably have your qualification EOM clause, one of the things which is going to come up in the new audit report format is that an auditor should probably specify what are the key risks in that audit and the manner in which those key risks were audited by them. Now this is a very interesting area, because what is going to happen now is that if I am the auditor of a customer, of a client, in my audit report, I openly tell everybody, the shareholder and hence everybody, that in this particular audit, I have identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues, and this is the manner in which I have tackled those issues or addressed those issues. This is what I am making an open statement on this. The question of audit documentation becomes even more important here, because I am openly saying that this is what I have done. Right? So tomorrow morning, suppose somebody does come to my office and say that, look, this is what you said on this particular client, can you see audit files? There is no way you can probably get away by saying that I didn't perform the particular procedure. So what I have done now is that I have picked up one very interesting key audit matter from the auditor of Emirates Airlines. I have picked up a very, because I always felt this, that looking at IFRS, if you look at a software company, not many companies are following IFRS, not many standards are applicable. But one industry to which probably all the IFRS standards, apart from agriculture, apply is the airline industry. Leasing, they have it. Derivatives, they have it. TPE, they have it. Leases, they have it. Everything they have got, apart from agriculture. So I picked up the key audit matter from Emirates Airlines, which was given to a 2018 audit report, and let us see what they have got to say here. So he has said that provision for aircraft return conditions, Emirates, this is only a statement of fact what he is saying. The Emirates operator has only under operating lease agreements, and under terms of the operating lease agreement, Emirates is committed to certain return aircraft and engines in a certain condition or compensate for losses. And they made a provision of 3,336 million Arab dinars for the cost of these aircraft conditions, and they also put what is this thing here. I'm going to stop here. So we know what this procedure is now. The procedure is that Emirates has made a provision of 3,336 UAE dirham for return of aircraft, because that's a part of your procedure here. You are the auditor of Emirates Airlines. What is the procedure you will follow now for this? Please remember that if you look at these documents, it also gives you excellent auditing techniques. It also gives you excellent auditing techniques. So what they have said is that this is how they have maintained how the provision has been done. This is what they have mentioned here, and this is how the auditing procedure they have followed. We obtained the aircraft return provision prepared by the management, summary of underlying assumptions. We tested the completeness of the provision, mentioning that all significant conditions were included in the model. Mathematical accuracy of calculation, which means totaling basically. Following key assumptions of the senior engineering personnel, past and expected future utilization, maintain the pattern, expected cost of each maintenance at the time of occur, and discounted appropriate future liability. So the auditor has gone public and stated that this is what I have done for this particular provision. This is one area. Like this, they have identified leases and all other areas also. So they have mentioned this. Now suppose I walk into your office and tell you that, listen, you are the auditor of Emirates Airlines, I found this very interesting thing there. Can I have documentation for this?
I will show in my books a provision made for your employee.
That's all it will show. I have also mentioned here that I have spoken to the management of Emirates about this. All this becomes a part of your audit documentation again. All this has to be a part of our audit documentation. So it is not necessarily only a provision entry. I also am becoming more and more in the public glare. Correct? Now nobody is going to come and question you why you didn't choose provisions of other things for this area. That is not going to be questioned at all. It's completely your audit and your judgment. So nobody is going to come and ask you why you did not choose provision for our employee benefits for the purpose of testing here. I mean, this is what you are not identified as a key risk, so that's okay, that's fine. But having said so in public, all the more care needs to be probably maintained in ensuring that documentation for these areas are absolutely crystal clear. This is point number one. Point number two is you'll also observe that many of the present EOMs and qualifications would probably be pushed into this now. Right? Because what is going to happen is that if I am going to tell the management, listen, I've identified this as a risk, and this is what I'm going to maintain and come out in the public domain and tell you about this. This is the risk in this particular company. Maybe the management is probably also not interested in showing this as a qualification. They'll say, okay, fine, we'll make a provision for 50%, and you just put this into your key audit matter. It is possible, I'm not saying it's going to happen, it's possible that even in India, the qualifications will probably be pushed into your key audit matters here. Now, the fact remains is that the audit report is mine, the key audit matter is mine. I would not want to look upon the company to give me any sort of response to this. If I want to mention this as a particular area of weakness, I would obviously have to mention this as an area of weakness. I'm not going to depend on the company to come back and say, don't put this, don't put that into the key audit matter. Or as we use the word called scale. But we have to be all the more careful because what is going to happen now is that as an audit firm, we are saying that this particular company, this is a risk in the audit. Right? And I have identified those risks. I can give you the example of Tesco, which probably highlights this very, very well. Tesco is like a food world in the UK, right? Just to give you an example of how this key audit matter becomes important. Tesco is like your food world in the UK, and Tesco was having this brilliant thing. They came up and said, we've done a very global survey of how consumer behavior in malls, and they came and said that according to this survey, any person who walks into the mall or who walks into a food world will tend to buy the things he sees first. He said the global survey is saying that the moment a person walks into the mall, what they see first, they will tend to buy. So what Tesco did, they got the survey report and told other companies who are their vendors saying that, listen, this is what the survey report is saying. If you want to put your goods first, pay me a commission. Or pay me some X amount of money, I put your goods first, so the sales improve there and you get more sales, I also get more commission. All people were standing in queue before Tesco to put their goods first because they wanted the customer to see their goods and sales to improve. On the basis of this policy, they made a provision for commission, revenue receipts. They made a huge provision for revenue receipts. But Tesco is based in UK, all of you know that. And UK 50% is Indians. What will Indians do when they go to a mall?
Compare.
They will go to the mall, they will see the mall, they will see the entire mall, come back, order on Amazon. So Tesco found that sales are not improving. They made a huge provision for revenue commission here, huge. It was millions of euros, British pounds, sorry. All the vendors are coming and shouting and saying, why did you tell me this thing? Nobody seems to be buying our goods. Actually, it's worse than what it was before. You went to the audit report, the auditor had, luckily for the auditor, he had made a mention saying that commission on display sales is a risk area. Luckily, he had mentioned that in the audit report. And how did he address it? The only safety for the auditor there was that he said that we have relied on the estimates made by the management. Now going to happen, maybe this is going to hit all of us from next year. In the Indian situation, we should start getting prepared to tell our clients that risk areas in your audit are going to be in public domain. It will probably be only for listed companies right now, but then later on it will probably come to private limited companies also. So you better be sure that your risk areas are covered sufficient. You make a provision necessary coverage here. And probably for us as auditors, more important is the fact that we need to ensure that since we have mentioned this is a risk area, probably audit documentation in those areas, make yourself doubly sure of those areas and ensure that this thing here. Again, we've got other key audit matters, how they have this thing here. It would make probably a lot of interesting study if you start looking at any of these key audit matters which have been mentioned and given by many of these people here. Again, as I am saying, this is not a formula-driven approach, it is client-specific. It is certainly possible that a client may have absolutely no risk area at all. So one question which is already coming up in the Indian context is that I know this client very, very well, absolutely clean client, no problems at all, no issues around the audit. Should I necessarily put one thing for the purpose of putting in KA? This question is already coming up in the Indian context. I know this person is, say for example in Infosys. Would you want to put a KM in Infosys? Probably no, maybe. But maybe yes, you never know. HR policies, you never know, compensation. You want to put in something. So this is a area of evolving audit reporting now. We need to be a little bit careful here because, we are saying that this is the risk area. So anybody, income tax department, they are waiting with the open ears on all these areas now. What are they going to do? We do not know about. So this is something which has to be, okay. A couple of misconceptions in audit documentation before we do special purpose reports. Auditors can meet their overall audit objectives without documenting their work. Conception number one. I know the client for the last 15 years. Nothing has gone wrong. I've got basic documentation. He is just a phone call away. Suppose CBI comes also, he'll come to my rescue. He knows the police commissioner very, very well. So nothing can go wrong. For me, audit documentation does not matter. Okay, if push comes to shove, I shall build up the documentation. First misconception of audit documentation is that I know the client very, very well, but we have seen situations wherein maybe it's probably not true because when push comes to shove, clients are not what they used to be. So always from our side, unfortunately, the situation wherein we are on the other side of the table, we need to build up a documentation. Second misconception is that a sign-off on an audit program is sufficient documentation for detailed test. Completely misconception number two, that's also wrong. I got an audit program, client has signed it off, he said, okay fine, this audit is fine, it's okay, no problem. Again, the test can be completely different. Even though, as I said, we do an audit at the trial balance level, as and when we go into the audit, it's only then that we realize what the problems are. The third misconception is that oral explanation can substitute for written documentation to meet the requirements of SA 230. Which means to say that I have told the client that there is a documentation defect, the documentation is not perfect, we need to come and recheck the documentation or retake more documentation, and client says that don't worry sir, I'll give you what documentation you want. He's given an oral confirmation. Can it make up for written what you can say, file on record? Maybe no, definitely may not, it will definitely not be possible. So you need to be a bit careful about that also. A couple of examples have also happened here, which I have already explained to you. What are the misconceptions, the cases which have actually happened abroad. So I just want to conclude with this small thing on audit documentation and go back to special purpose reports now. Saying that now going forward, we all know this, that we've had a certain level of documentation in the past. Those things will probably change in the near future once we have the new form of audit report coming in here. And I don't think it is we are doing any favor to the client by asking for additional documentation. I would always suggest that it's always better that we keep more documentation. Probably something we have not done in the past. I'm not saying this with a negative sort of a thing, but it's not something we have not done in the past. But still, the fact remains that in this present day and age, when we are questioned upon for everything, one of the things a friend of mine, Chadavan in Chennai, he got from SEBI recently. He got a notice from SEBI, and he was auditing a listed company in Chennai, and He suddenly out of the blue he got a notice from SEBI one day saying that, why are you not insisting on actual valuation for every quarter? He just sort of, why is actual valuation not being done for every quarter? This is an India's compliant company. So he got the notice from SEBI and he did not know what to reply. He said, he was actually nonplussed. He said, why is it required? I'm only doing it once in a year. So who said I have to do it every quarter? So he called me up and said, is it mandatory every quarter? No. I don't see the very fact that you've got something called other comprehensive income, in which your actual gains and losses go, by itself shows that you have to do it every quarter. That's a requirement of India itself, though I am not specifically saying so. You can do one of two things. Either you can put a number there based on an assumption, or you can actually get an actual valuation report done. So he responded back to SEBI and told them that we were not aware of this particular provision, but we are making a provision on an estimated basis. We are not actually asking for an actual valuation report. And SEBI sort of stayed silent on this. So what is happening now is that suddenly, over the last 3 or 4 years, everybody seems to be having some question or other towards the auditing community. Again, as I said, it's not that things will definitely go wrong. Please don't assume that things will definitely go wrong. That is not the intention at all behind audit documentation. But we are in a situation today wherein we have to be absolutely sure that things are at least right. I'm not going to use the word going wrong here, because things are at least right. For which, the more the documentation, the better it is. The more reputable documents, the better it is. And sometimes documentation can get very tiresome. Like we know situations wherein there was a particular situation of a client, a friend of mine in Hyderabad, who had a dispute in Vaishakapatnam on a piece of land. It was a very huge piece of land. There was a dispute. And he had paid about 200 crores for the Visakhapatnam land. The company had paid 200 crores. It was in dispute. It was actually in Andhra Pradesh High Court. And the Andhra Pradesh Housing Board claimed that they are going to revoke the license for that land. They are actually going to let us say they revoke the license for that land. So the entire land was in dispute. And there was some UM coming up saying that, by the auditor saying that this land is in dispute and all those things. And so he sort of asked me for an opinion. He said, what do you think I should do? Is only EOM enough, or should we provide for it now? So I had to actually sort of go and meet him also. And the company kept on saying one thing, and they said that, sir, nothing will happen to our land. We are safe. And I asked him, how are you saying so? He said, sir, we met the Chief Minister. I said, okay. And what happened? No, Chief Minister assured us that nothing will happen to the land. I said, okay. Do you have a document with the Chief Minister? Sir, Chief Minister, why you leave your document, sir? No. I said, only oral assurance, no? Have you got a written representation with the Chief Minister? I said, no. I don't know if you want the auditor to agree to what you are saying. The basic minimum he will require is a written representation. So whatever you are telling me orally, that you may apply to the Chief Minister, told him this and all those things, please put it in the form of a letter, get it signed by the Chief Minister's office. He's got some comfort that at least there is a document. Now you are telling me orally, this is not going to help at all. So they went to the Chief Minister's office after a few days. He said that, sir, we got this letter, we wanted to sign it, we wanted to acknowledge this thing. What did he say? He said, this case is under dispute, we will not sign anything. Which basically meant that whatever he was trying to tell me was that the land belongs to us was actually not true, right? So now, subsequently, we have come to know that actually the case has gone against them. It has gone against this particular company. So it was actually had to make an impairment loss and all those things, which was again a problem here. So such things are possible, such things do happen. So just be a little bit careful here. And we've always, sort of, as they said, as they use the word, caution is better, prevention is better than cure sort of thing. So, okay, I'm going to quickly go on this because it's not really much of a time-consuming, but since special requests have come in here. We all know this. 10:30 you go to your office, you go to your room, client calls up and says that certificate dekho. You ask them what certificate? Export turnover certificate. Okay, you tell him no problem. You tell him what? Send all the details and issue the certificate. He says okay. He calls about a half an hour. Sir, did you get the details? You say, no, I'm not going to check my mail. I check it in some time. He says, no, 11 o'clock. He says, sir, certificate is urgent. I have to give it to RBI. I have to give it to some other person. Certificate is urgent. What will you do? You will get the mail. Some numbers will be there. You will probably see the numbers on the basis And will you send the certificate or not?
To check with the financial statements, but you don't have time for that.
You don't have time for that. Third call comes at 12:30, or maybe client physically comes to office at 12:30, it's in front of you. You will probably send it off because you know the client, and we again feel that certificate is only a certificate. Now, ICA has given a guidance note on this certificate of special purposes only with the intention that we should probably go one step extra in terms of caution in getting our necessary information correct. We have given certificates for every sort of purpose, right? So I mean, I'm just giving you this thing here. Net worth certificate is a very important thing. You are talking about net worth certificate for red herring prospectus, turnover certificate for RBI, foreign grant certificate for the purpose of RBI FEMA regulations, right? Now all these certificates are single documents, single page documents which are probably produced in a hurry, right? And for us, as long as the certificate is out of the door, we are probably happy. But if you actually look at the guidance note, it appears that we need to probably be more careful because the guidance note is about some 97 different type of paragraphs. It's probably even more than I said 230 in terms of documentation. The ICA seems to be feeling that please be a bit careful on certification because this seems to be a commencement of all problems in other areas, right? Issuing the wrong certificate. I won't use the word wrong certificate. I'll say a certificate is based on wrong facts given by the client. Because we never issue wrong certificates. We always have a basis, we always have a backing, we always have a document to support what you are saying. So the certificate per se can never be wrong. But if the information given is wrong, obviously a certificate also is wrong. So we could have various certificates here for various situations here. Obviously the documentation or the questions you will ask for a certificate are based on what that certificate is for. That is very, very clear. If it is turnover, you will probably say turnover. You will ask me, give me your turnover, give me your tally backup, give me your tally sales till date. I'll check with the financial statements. You obviously have your own internal benchmarks for checking what the certificate is. If it is net worth certificate, you will probably say, okay, fine, I look at your balance sheet, I know you've got a certain number of net worth. Individual net worth, please give me your income tax returns. So we have got our own, what you can say, internal guidelines, benchmarks, which we probably take from the client before issuing that certificate. So whatever that certificate may be, whatever it is for. So I think what is probably more important is that the nature of the procedures you will perform and probably the documentation you will obtain depends upon what certificate you are giving. What certificate you are giving. So I've just got a small test for all of you. I know that this is far out in the evening, but still, I am going to ask you this question. What would you do if a certificate is asked for this? And this, just to remind you, is clause 44 of the tax audit report, which was postponed by 1 year, talking about a whole lot of information on GST. It's now postponed by 1 year. I think it should not be there at all in the first place, but at least one year postponed we have got. So what is going to happen now? The GST audit as such has not come. It's probably not going to come till December at least because the annual returns forms have been identified, have been notified now. Maybe we'll not get a GST audit before the end of the year because who's going to do GST audit when you don't have time for the audit now, right? It is extremely possible that CIVIC may come out and say that please it is certified by your auditor. It is not there in your form 3CD now. When you file your annual return, the same form has to be certified by your auditor. I am going to put this test in front of all of you and say that if this is given to you as a requirement, what not will you ask for? Probably the more fundamental question we have to answer is, will you sign this?
There is a fundamental issue here. We have what is known as agreed upon procedures. So far, we don't know what is agreed upon procedures.
Correct.
Each of the so-called certificates should be backed up by a report indicating clearly what has been done under an agreed upon procedure.
Right.
So institute has still, actually this should have not at all come out with guidance note on this certificate.
Yeah, unless you have agreed upon.
They should have simply said use the agreed upon procedures and then say clearly how you have gone about issuing this particular this thing. So I think the institute requires to look into this particular
Correct. I think that's a fair point because the amount of how much can you do in terms of how much is certificate?
Here also you can do it,
Yeah.
but you clearly specify, yes, this particular certificate is issued on this basis.
Correct.
These figures have been verified with this particular register. This figure has been verified with that particular register. So you have to agree upon with the client what exactly how this certificate is.
Correct.
And formulate a basis for issue of the certificate and limit your certificate. So you cannot certify the figures just like that.
Yes, that's correct.
You
Absolutely.
have to back it up with a total, what should I say, a report or a sort of a
document is something.
which is that you have that agreed upon procedures which is there in that red book.
Right, okay.
Yeah, along with that you have to put the thing.
Perfect, yeah. So, my very simple point is this, right? If you look at this particular columns here, you ask the client, tell you, okay, do it, no problem. I'll give you my form 3B for the last 11 months, you just fill it up and give it, no problem. I'll give you my ITC register, I'll give you my electronic credit ledger, you fill it up and give it to me. As long as it is electronically maintained and as long as it is form 3B filed by the client, we have absolutely no problems. We have a problem when it comes to saying that auditor, please certify these numbers. Because the fact remains that today, the unfortunate thing about the GST law today is that there seems to be no sort of a check on the ITC which has been claimed. Which is why they're trying out all these tricks right now. They're trying to get this audit procedure and trying to get the annual return and all these things. If they do ask for this certificate, my advice, I'll completely agree with what Anil is saying because there's no agreed upon procedure here. My advice to all of you, which I have told when tax audit came itself was that, when this came in clause 44 was that, please give a small note here mentioning that this information is based on the form 3B filed, the 3B filed by the client. We have not audited this form at all. There is absolutely no harm in the disclaimer. Now, that is the agreed upon procedure which you are talking about here, right? Because the moment I don't put this disclaimer, the other person reading the certificate feels that everything is perfectly fine. So our tax audit report, which was just thankfully removed or postponed 1 year, which is supposed to be, ultimately what is the tax audit report? My opinion of the tax audit report, maybe you don't agree with me, is that the income tax department outsourced their job to us. That is my view of the tax audit report. In IT department, they outsource their job to chartered accountants, which is fine.
Even data entry of income tax return.
Returns, exactly, right. So basically, we are doing a BPO job with the tax department. That's what a tax audit report is. If I tell this completely and say that okay, there's a problem with 3B, he's going to probably tax on to the customer. So why this? It does not come, but I'm sure, I'm confident it will come out in the form of certification requirement saying that please get this form certified by a chartered accountant. In case it does also, because it's a special purpose certificate. As I am saying, irrespective of how much of the client is prepared to pay you for the certificate, please be again extra cautious here because the guidance note will probably not give you guidance in this particular aspect. There will obviously be other reasons why these figures may not be perfectly correct as the case may be. So we just have to do a little bit of due diligence here. But just for the purpose of discussion, suppose you do feel that the 3B is correct because you filed the 3B, ITC is correct because you filed the ITC claim. You're doing everything for GST for the customer. You still, the client, you've done everything on GST, right from the filing of the 3B, registration, everything. You know that whatever numbers are being given here are absolutely correct. Just for a moment, let us assume that was the situation. Then you know that you've done everything yourself, so you know that the numbers, this table can be filled up very, very easily. The certificate also can be given probably very, very easily. What we would probably normally do in the present circumstance, what we probably normally do is that, okay, fine, I have seen my 3B, I know the GSTR 1, I know the ITC claim, I have no problem, I just summarize all the 12 months GSTR 3B and GSTR 1, I'll get my total net liability of tax, put into this, anyhow I got a URD was already, breakup was already there, I shall issue the certificate. There's no harm in issuing the certificate, but problem is issuing the certificate without documentation. Probably, even though you have filed your own 3B, the 3B on your own, you may probably want to keep backup copies of all your 3B which has been filed for the last 12 months, 11 months as the case may be, and probably back up with the adequate documentation. Okay, now quickly let's try to finish the special purpose audit reports because what can normally happen is that there can be a reasonable assurance engagement for a certificate in which they can say that if you want me to use a Hindi word for this, mota moti. reasonable assurance. It's okay, not a problem. Limited assurance agreement is like a limited review. I have only seen turnover. I have not seen net loss at all, only turnover I see. I am certifying only turnover, nothing else, right? And the engagement can also be in the type of assertion-based agreement. Assertion-based means I am saying, okay, it complies with all the requirements of SEBI norms. It complies with all the requirements of Companies Act. It's an assertion which I am giving, which can be limited or reasonable. Or it can also be direct reporting, in which as per FEMA guidelines, as per RBI requirements, I have to certify investment in branch office abroad. That's called the direct reporting agreement. All these are various types of engagements here. And all these are the theoretical, things which have been mentioned in the standard on auditing here, or guidance note here. They use this brilliant word called as professional skepticism. This is a word which is coming out very commonly nowadays, and it is also being used very commonly nowadays. And the guidance note also goes on to define what that word is. And the definition of professional skepticism seems to be that an attitude that includes a questioning mind, being alert to conditions which may indicate possible misstatement, and a critical assessment of evidence. So, this is, please remember, this is coming in a certification thing, not in an audit thing. This is coming in a certification guidance note. You can imagine what is going to happen now. Even though you are issuing a certificate, the guidance note says be a little bit skeptical, questioning mind. Is this turnover figure correct? Is net worth correct? Start even thinking about the possibility that it is possible that it may not be correct, and then you go on to decide whether it is correct or not. So you probably have to do that. And being alert to conditions, or new terms, critical assessment of evidence. We are also now, you've heard the old thing, auditor is not a bloodhound but a watchdog. Okay. So now he says critical assessment of evidence. When the client gives the turnover numbers to you for the purpose of certification, critically examine it. How will you critically examine it? Very difficult. You will examine it, that we know. But critically examine it involves a completely different frame of mind altogether. Thinking that everything can possibly be wrong in this particular number. Possibly everything can be possibly wrong. So, these are all things which are there for certification. All it just probably goes to show is that don't just certify for the purpose of certifying. We had an argument with the CA accounting firm in Bangalore. One of the partners whom I know very well again. He was again giving a certificate for turnover, I think. Not only was turnover. And I was sitting in his office talking about something else, and he got a call from some other chartered accountant saying that, please sign the certificate now. And the other CA was saying that I have seen it. This guy was based in Delhi. The other CA was based in Delhi and said, I have seen that particular certificate, you please sign it. And my friend was saying, look, I have not even seen those numbers. He said, no, don't worry about it, I have seen those numbers, they are perfectly fine, no problem at all. And you please sign it because client wants it very urgently, please sign it, please sign it. It was like under tremendous pressure. So he was telling me that, this is what has happened, this is what the phone call is. And so I asked him, do you have the certificate now in front of you? He said, no, I got it over email, he said. I said, yeah, okay, can you show it to me? I told him. So he said, yeah, take a printout and show it to you. Said, no printout, just show it on the screen, I told him. The turnover is certifying was 7,000 crores. The turnover is certifying was 7,000 crores. So I don't think you should sign this today. Irrespective of however good your friend may be who's seen the certificate, he may be the best friend for all you know, but the sheer number is so mind-boggling, I told him. And he said, I'm certifying for the first time, he says. And the sheer number is so mind-boggling. Please be a bit careful on this. Ask for evidence. See last year's annual report, turnover is actually this much or not. Ask for certification, manual about the turnover. Do all these things. Just don't sign with this, he said. What to do? He's putting so much pressure. So I said, okay, ask for this. At least, you can return back and ask for these documents. So he sent back an email and told us that I want all these documents. He gets a call from the CFO from Delhi next. And said, why do you want to see the documents again? Your person has already seen it. How many times can we keep on giving these documents? We don't have so much of time. Please certify right now. So I actually prepped him for this particular. I told him the CFO was going to call up to tell him that even if he calls up, tell him that I am not going to certify. Let us see let him do whatever he wants. I don't know how much I'm going to lose because of the certificate. He said maybe 10,000 rupees. It doesn't matter. Lose 10,000 rupees. When he calls up again, he said, I'm not going to certify till I see all the documents. So he said, okay, fine. He picked up the call again and said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to certify it. Until you provide these documents, I'm not going to certify it. Do whatever you want. I want to be absolutely certified. I'm absolutely sure. So he put the phone down, and within the next half an hour, they sent some documents. Again over email. I wanted to see the entire procedure, so I spent the entire half day in his office. They sent documents in such a manner that nothing was visible. All blurred copies. So he said, what do I do now? I said, please ask them for proper copies. You already got into the water now. You might as well swim it properly. Don't come out of it now. You already got into the water now. Ask for proper copies. So they asked for proper copies. And this went on from, I was there from 10:30 in the morning to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, you will not believe this. At 3 o'clock, the CFO calls up and says that, I'm sorry, the number is wrong, actually it should be 6,000 crores. This happened at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he was so confident that it was 7,000 crores in the early morning call. So then he said, then my friend got it out. He said, how much was even 6,000 crores now? I don't even know 6,000 crores, right? I mean, he had some numbers there. So I don't ask for a certificate there. So what will happen now in this questioning mind is that I'm not saying doubt everything. I'm not saying doubt. That's not what even the guidance note says. It only says that just be alert that what is possible may not, what is seen is actually may not be what it is on the face of it, right? The guidance note has got a lot of contents. I'm not going to go through all these things because many of these are actually, known to you. So there are some obvious limitations in any certification report here. So one of the things we should probably quickly look at is that as we know that certification will probably be for specific purposes only. I don't want to look at the entire gamut of operations also. But it's also a very interesting thing that whenever I'm asked to certify something, there's always a link to some other document in that particular company or some other event or some other transaction in that particular company. Turnover with regard to some certification you want to get from the RBI, invariably. Or a loan from the bank probably. Or loan from the bank probably. They want us to give a certain certification here. Or it may also be for LC limits when they are asking for a certificate on the, a certain amount of current ratio, they are also asking for a certificate. Some people asking for a certificate because of the LC ratio, LC liquidity and all that stuff, right? So there is always an end purpose behind a certification. So what I tend to do is that I will tend to link certification to valuation, right? Valuation depends upon the purpose of valuation, as all of us know. Depending on the purpose of valuation, I get a particular value. Certification depends upon the purpose of certification. You please find out what is the purpose of the certification. Whom does it have to be given to? Regulator, own company, income tax department, GST department, another auditor. It can be for anybody. The moment you find out what is the purpose of certification, you will also be able to make out what documentation you need to build for that particular certification, number one. Also, what questions you have to ask the management for the purpose of issuing that particular certificate. It need not necessarily have to be an entire auditing procedure by itself, right? You have to just know what the end purpose. Suppose it says RBI. You may want to know what RBI regulations are. You will need to know it obviously. Suppose it says another auditor. You need to find out why the auditor wants a certificate from you. Why does he want the certificate? Is it required? Is it mandated? Can I do without giving this particular certificate? So the first question you will probably ask any customer or client is asking you for a special purpose certificate is, what is the purpose of the certificate? To whom it has to be given? In case it's a regulatory requirement, what does the regulation say? Accordingly, I can build up my questioning mind, all these things I can accordingly build up here. And if there is no assurance, the guidance note is pretty clear here. And the practitioner can disclaim an opinion, conclusion, or withdraw exemption engagement, where withdrawal is possible under applicable law or regulation. This is what Sundaresh was talking about, wherein if I am not able to get a particular comfort, I should also probably resign. You are also giving many reasons why auditors resign, no? But resigning is easier said than done, as all of us know. And all the resignations have happened till today there's something more than what meets there. We obviously not very, very well. It is not as simple as what it sounds out, saying that they did not give me information, I did not give information, all those things. There's obviously something more than meets there. But still, it is easier to walk out of a certification engagement than from an audit engagement. I can choose not to certify. You can always go to somebody else. I have no problem as far as that is concerned. I cannot choose probably not to audit, but I can choose not to certify. You know, and sometimes the certificates which they are asking for are probably so, you know, great that, you know, we have to look at this thing. Maybe as a part of documentation comes certification. As I told you, one of the things we obviously have to understand very, very clearly is, I told you about purpose of certification, who wants a certificate. All this comes out in the form of terms of engagement. Now, as I told you earlier also at the beginning of the session, many a time what happens, we just tend to do certification for the purpose of doing it. He asks it, we give it. We don't actually get into a dialogue as to why the certificate is required, what are the terms of the engagement and all these things. So, maybe now it's probably a good time to sort of think that, okay, why do you want the certificate? How many certificates do you want? What is the requirement of the certificate? Maybe now we should probably use the guidance note as a basis to ask all these questions here, right? And unrestricted access to whatever records, documentation and other information requested in the connection engagement. Unrestricted access. This is normally not a problem because we do get unrestricted access. But sometimes we see that, sir, file with the CFO, sir. He will not, only you can, he will not give the file with the CFO, sir. So, you know, such sort of situations, until that information is given, until that file comes, maybe we should probably not even attempt to certify it, right? One concept which definitely comes up is materiality. When you are looking at all these certifications, materiality just comes into picture, just like in auditing procedures. Materiality is a very significant amount, very, very significant aspect you should take into account here. So depending upon your client, you can probably look at how the materiality has to be looked into, right? And there is also something called as a practitioner's expert given in the guidance note, which is that you don't have to do, or you are not qualified to do a particular valuation or a particular part of that particular certificate, and you depend upon somebody else. We already had something called relying on the work of an expert. We already had a guidance note on that. The institute has brought that same provision back into the guidance note on special purpose engagement and said that I can also take a practitioner's expert. That is, I am the practitioner, I appoint another person as an expert. Again, I can go back to the concept of fair value and Ind AS. I am not qualified to probably do a fair valuation. I am not a qualified valuer. I can only read the financial statements. I can depend on the third person. I can go to a cat firm, SEBI, merchant bank and tell him that, can you do a valuation? He gives me the valuation report. Depending upon his valuation report, I put in a fair valuation certificate here for my entire overall certification report. So, these things are pretty much clear here. And please note that when you are giving the certificate, you will have to mention the fact that I have used this particular practitioner for this purpose. So, please bring in his name also. Practitioner as expert, his name also features in the report. He would also probably feature in the report. You would probably look at it from the point of view of, putting his name and saying that I have depended upon him for this particular, report here. And you obviously have to go and take the necessary guidance, look at whether the practitioner is qualified to do this report. These are standard procedures which we all do. There is the field of expertise as a practitioner expert. Does he have enough experience in this particular area? Is he qualified to do this report? The very interesting thing about the Ind AS word is that they use the word called as qualified actuary. Right? They use the word called as qualified actuary. So many people have asked me this question, what does the word qualified actuary mean? I have told them very simply means that a person must pass actuary's examination, that's all. So doesn't mean I have to ask him for a certificate, may not necessarily be so. As long as he is giving the registration number, then we should be happy. You don't have to go beyond that. So, but still you would probably want to look at whether he is competent to it. We normally look at it from the point of view of fairness opinions, valuation reports, all these things. We can probably look at this thing here. And just like your MRL, even for special purpose certificates, please get a written representation. It's always better to get a written representation. Both ways it flows. You get a representation of the management for the particular engagement. You also, on your part, you ask the necessary information through writing. One of the things which you probably have to learn as a matter of probably good governance, more than looking at any guidance note as such, is that communication with the customer, with the client on key matters is very, very important. We may not want to actually bring all facts out in a particular email, but in case it's a requirement of a documentation requirement, disagreement with the client on a particular matter, asking for additional information, all these things, obviously I would probably think that just should put it into an email, send it to the client. I'm sure that he's going to probably respond. Written representation is very, very important here. It also talks about what happens if written representation is not received. You have to discuss the matter with a particular person and evaluate the integrity of those who are requested to give the information and take appropriate actions, including determining the possible effect of the conclusion actions report. So suppose I've asked for a particular document, I've asked for a particular representation, he has not given it to me, or he refuses to give it to me, or he doesn't give it to me, what happens? That also has been mentioned here. Talk to them, ask them what has happened, why are they not given to us. And basically what the guidance note is saying is that don't give an opinion without performing these steps, without asking them these necessary questions. Again, you may still not get the document, but still, at least on your side, you are sure that you asked these necessary questions. Maybe it is possible that your opinion on the certificate may change because of these questions which you have asked. So that's what I'm trying to say here. And ultimately, forming the assurance opinion, I mean, this is only a sort of a normal, standard language has been used here. Sufficiency and appropriateness of evidence obtained. So when I want to certify this, all I need to really require is sufficiency and appropriateness of evidence which has been obtained here. And just to give you a couple of quick things before we conclude, a sample report. So this is more from your point of view for the purpose of your thing, because you asked me this question. This is only a report on the turnover, okay? So normally what we'll say is, according to the information expression given to us, turnover is this much. But you can see that this report goes into 4 pages. It goes into 4 pages, in which basically what we're trying to say here is that the first sentence I'm commencing, this is what you told me to do. Engagement letter. You asked me for the certificate on turnover on this particular date. I mentioned that, right? And whatever is the second is a statement of fact. The accompanying statement of annual turnover for this financial years. Details as required pursuant to compliance with terms and conditions of this particular thing. And this may be a little bit not clear to you, but still I'll probably expand this, and the presentation is already there in the institute, so you can probably pick it up there. And he has basically mentioned this before the opinion page. He just mentioned what are the steps he has performed for addressing the turnover. Like he's also talking about getting representatives of management, checking the turnover and test basis and all these things. And then he has formed, the opinion here. And then he goes on to say that what is the responsibility of management for this particular statement, just like an audit report. They say that the management also is responsible for this particular statement here. And what is my responsibility, or the practical responsibility, and also is given what is restriction on use, for whom this can be used. So if you look at the 4 or 5 samples given the, I know Anil is laughing, but still. Any thoughts about this? Any thoughts on this?
No. There is a Kannada saying, Mantrakenta Ugude change. What's happening in a lot of
Exactly. So, this is only a sample format, right? What is actually going to happen? We are going to say that we have received this particular engagement, we've got this engagement, we've got these documents, and we will go giving the certificate in this particular use. Now, putting this in this word called as management responsibility may not be probably required in most of these cases here, but we normally put in a clause. When you do that, if you go back to the step here, it is not a very bit not clear, but still I can probably tell you this. Sorry, being all over the place, right? Here, what we tell them is that we tell them very clearly that whatever data you find in this report is based on what the management has given us. We mentioned this to you. We mentioned this very, very clearly. But one thing I would probably try to sort of, emphasize on is that apart from all these management responsibility patterns, I think the restriction for use should be definitely a part of your certificate. Because the certificate cannot be used for other purposes. Please put in a small sentence which is there for a restriction for use, so that you know that the certificate is not used for other purposes, and this is what a limitation of this also. We need not follow the same format for every certificate, but the template seems to be only 4 things are required. One is, did they ask you to do it, which is the first thing, engagement from the client. Second is, what did you do, correct? Which is what are the procedures you performed, what did you check with management responsibility, all those things here. The third is probably, what is your opinion on what you did? Whether you actually are certifying yes, no, all right on the particular turnover. And fourth clause probably put in what is called as a restriction for use. Saying that don't use this for general purposes. It's only for the purpose of what is required for the certificate, right? So I think with this, I have come to the end of my presentation. One of the requests from Mr. Shetty was that we leave for home early, so I think I've sort of met that particular benchmark here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mohan, one question.
Yes.
Yes. Now, turnover certificate. The tender calls for turnover certificate as per the annual accounts.
Correct.
Okay. The accounts have been audited by somebody. So the client gives you the audited accounts. And you can see the figures there. For
Right.
3 years he gives, so this year.
Right.
However, the audit report, there's a qualification on the turnover.
Correct.
So when you give the certificate as per the audited accounts, does our guidance note require us to give a qualification on the...
Brilliant question. And I think you know the answer also. The guidance note is blissfully silent on this. The guidance note is blissfully silent on this. It's very silent on this. It doesn't talk about linked audit report. But yes, it's a very interesting question. I would still say that I certify the turnover subject to the same qualification.
No. You have been asked a particular format. Certify the turnover as per...
You cannot qualify it. You cannot qualify it.
But you know the purpose is to get some tender.
Some tender and all these things, yeah. So unfortunately, no guidance from this guidance notice. There's no guidance from guidance notice. So you have to look at your own, ways to solve this particular thing, right?
This limited use, so you can take it.
Yeah, limited use, obviously. But I am sure you can always put in a word in a certificate. I'm sure you can always put in a word saying that this has been qualified by the auditor. I'll always put in that saying that this has been qualified by the auditor. Definitely, yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Friends, we had a detailed discussion on documentation and certification for special purpose. The importance of audience. The speaker mentioned the importance of documentation, and documentation really hits when we don't have that. So normally the quality of our audit proves our documentation. The importance he already discussed with us. I think he made it very interesting by interacting with you all. Let us thank the speaker for his valuable time and knowledge sharing with a round of applause. Now I request our past chairman Anil Kumar to come forward and present a gift voucher to the speaker as a token of appreciation and gratitude.
Sure.
Thank you, C. Anil Kumar. Let us thank the Auditing and Assurance Standard Board of ICI for organizing this program, and our full-hearted thanks to you all for your active participation. Thank you very much. See you again in some other